okay, so hashtags on TikTok.
Yes.
So
super important.
So you're Karine.
Yes.
Do you prefer Karine Svoboda?
Do not call me Karen. As long as you don't call
No,
me
I
Karen,
know that.
we can still remain friends.
Do you prefer Karine Svoboda or Karine Idrissi?
I don't think anyone's ever called me that before.
I'm gonna call you Karine Svoboda.
I'm sure it'd make my husband super happy.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Chuck, this one's for you.
But before we dive into the whole SEO thing, just context as to why I even know any of this.
Yes.
So I have an agency called Sunday Creative with my business partner, Christina Argento.
Yeah.
And we do kind of like full circle 360 communications, which includes social media, influencer marketing, as well as traditional PR and events and production and all that fun stuff. So we touch everything.
I didn't know you did events as well.
Sure do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so events, PR.
The whole gamut. We do it all.
Okay. Didn't know that.
See?
And we're going to get into all of this today. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah.
And because of the whole, so I'm more on the digital side. So I have a passion for social media and of course influencer marketing.
Yeah.
And that's how our whole SEO TikTok conversation came about. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because hashtags are important. It actually will help with any type of organic views. Super important to do paid, I think, across the board. Like paid advertising is so important in social, but hashtags, you could still get somewhere by being a little bit better with your captions as well as your hashtags.
And so I took a Gary, help me out here. And I think you'll probably be like, wow, that's really good. Or maybe you'll be like, no, Curtis, that's actually really shit. You should be doing it this way. So what we try and do is basically we'll post stuff on TikTok or Instagram. Well, let's just focus on TikTok right now. So we'll make a post on TikTok.
Yeah. And
then whatever post organically does the best.
How long are your clips?
Shem, what are they? 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds?
A minute 30 on
So
average.
I guess it makes sense for a podcast that's long, but yeah, I guess it makes sense so that people can get kind of a gist of whether or not they want to come in and listen to the whole thing.
And we're always experimenting and stuff, you know what I mean? Because they're also changing their algorithm all the time. And this is like a conversation I was having with Mel Vandersloot last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so she's like, she creates beautiful, beautiful content.
Absolutely.
So
I've worked with her a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, as an influencer.
Okay, I want to get into all of this.
Yes.
But basically what I was going to say is do you have any other tips outside of, okay, so you make a post.
Okay.
You have 10 pieces. But here, just let me finish. So you have like 10 pieces. Okay, this one did the best.
Yeah.
That's the one you're going to put money behind.
Yes, always the one that performs organically the best is the one that you want to put money behind.
Yeah.
But I would say the most important is what are you saying in the first 10 seconds of the clip? Because no one's listening for more than 10 seconds.
Right?
So what is that? That's number one when we tell any of our clients is imagine you're talking about a beauty product and you didn't talk about it in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But you paid this person for this whole entire piece of content $5,000. So you're like, okay, cool, but no one actually did. We look at their watch times now. So if someone's jumping off at 8 seconds, but you only talk about the product a minute in, I wasted my money. So now we're trying to kind of be a little bit more strategic and educate our clients that you actually need to either show the product or talk about the product within the first 10
immediately.
seconds. Right away. Because people's attention span, it's all about snackable content, similar to when you're doing your clips. So you got to get them hooked in the first 10 seconds.
And is that why, because for us, I saw this on, I mean, there's all kinds of information that you can find on TikTok. And
100%. One
guy was saying, he was giving an example, I forget what clip it was, but it was the exact same clip. And all they did was put the little, like a copy. What's that? What's the name of that?
Are you talking about like an overlay, like putting copy
It's
on
basically,
top of the video?
so you have like the video and then just says top 10, whatever.
Yeah. And it worked better?
Overlay?
It's called text overlay.
Text overlay, yes. Well, his did. It went from basically the original had 80,000 views.
Because people knew what the hell they were going to listen to in the next couple of seconds. That makes complete sense.
Got it.
I didn't even think about text overlay, but that 100% is the same thing. It's either showing the product, talking about the product, or hey, this is what I'm going to talk about in the next minute.
Got it.
Did you try it?
Well, we've been doing that more recently, and I feel like our clips are kind of doing better. But it's tough to get really good views on with regards to insurance. Like it's very, very, very difficult.
Well, you're trying to make something unsexy very sexy.
We're not trying to make it sexy. We're just trying to make it like informational and stuff. We're testing out some other things, but it's definitely a little bit easier to get clips on podcasts. Like I know it could take 2 seconds. I know how to get a clip in 2 seconds, but I have to be careful because it can affect the brand of KBD. So if I want to get,
I can get
political in 2 seconds, But now all of a sudden I might alienate.
My Chuck, my husband told me, do not get into politics with Curtis, because then that's exactly what this whole entire podcast is going to be about.
Yeah.
He's like, be careful.
But I'm strategic with that, and I'm not going to, because I don't want to alienate.
100%. Not everyone's going to have the same views as you.
Correct.
Unless you become like an actual like political podcaster, and then you want to like lean in hard.
Then I would rip it.
But then you couldn't associate yourself.
No,
to your
you
own
can't.
business.
And but the thing now is like I've intentionally tried to, like the KBD podcast. We changed the name just to make it easier to kind of have that cross branding. So
Yeah.
KBD podcast. It's just I have to be. I can't say like I'll try and be as objective as possible by trying not to take strong opinions.
Okay.
Because you're getting into politics, and it's like I always say this, like what Michael Jordan says, like, oh, hey, what's your opinion on X? It was an event that happened back in the 90s, and he didn't want to give a comment. He goes, I sell shoes to Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
Basically saying, why would I take a stance when I'm going to alienate half of the
100%.
population? So,
look, privately, yes, let's have all those conversations.
Yes.
And I'll take you head to head on politics, because I think we have different views. So
whatever Chuck thinks, I basically agree with him.
I know. Which is the problem.
So whatever.
Yeah, so totally get it. But no, that
I got you, Chuck.
100% makes sense that you need to kind of be a little bit more objective, because at the end of the day, you are a company, you are a brand.
Correct. So let's move along.
Absolutely.
So you were talking about Sunday Creative.
Yes.
The name of your company. Let's talk about Karine and
Yes.
how the hell you got started in.
Yes. In all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Age-old tale is that I had jobs corporately.
Yeah.
Fucking hated it. I'm not good at politicking. Like I can't like fake it till I make it. I wasn't like good at being strategic in that kind of setting. And I realized I just don't want to have a boss. So I started my own thing. Originally it was called Stop and Stare PR. I think
And you started your own thing when?
Oh my God.
Roughly what year?
I'm old now. Over 10 years ago. Like we're talking like almost 13, 14 years ago.
Okay.
2016?
Okay.
Math?
That's
not the right math.
That's 8 years.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll say 2010.
I think I legally incorporated in 2016.
Okay. Cool. Got it.
So I might have started before.
Okay.
Yeah. First client being like $500 a month to do their social media. And it was like a cute little salon downtown. But so I started my own thing. I was lucky enough that I got to live with my parents. So like my expenses weren't too crazy.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, it kind of crushed it. And we started working with influencers. But influencers almost 10 years ago were not what they are today, right? With like millions of views, millions of followers. They were more like bloggers, and they were like kind of starting on Instagram a little bit. And then modeling agencies were super interested in them. So I was inviting them to my events alongside media and stylists and the more traditional outlets. And then one of them one day got approached. She had a good amount of following, and she was like, they want to manage me. Fun story is that the
modeling agency,
which is coincidentally the agency that ended up acquiring me now, is the reason my whole inception story.
Hold on. You got acquired by a modeling agency?
Well, they're like a talent and modeling agency.
I thought it was a marketing company.
No.
They're a modeling agency.
And influencers. They started off as a modeling agency. Yeah.
Oh my God!
I know.
Okay, my brain just exploded.
I know.
Continue.
Trust me, most people have.
Because this is a space I'm actually I'm pretty well versed in marketing.
Yeah.
Like I do all the SEO that's done here. I do all the SEO,
awesome.
So I have a good understanding of how it works. We run everything pretty much in house outside of the editing.
Yeah.
The influencer/PR side is a subsection of marketing that I'm not very familiar with.
And that's what we do.
Okay, let's talk.
So the part that you don't do.
Yeah.
Or do
I don't really know anything about it.
So so then perfect. Great.
Okay.
So basically this influencer approaches me. She's like, I'm about to be signed by a modeling agency, but I don't think that they understand the landscape, because influencers back then, again, were not very well known. And I'm like, I can do this. So I started a company called Influence All overnight. Got the domain name. She was my first sign, and that's how I started managing influencers. But I still had my PR agency called Stop and Stare. So I had two companies.
Okay.
Did it for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Had an amazing right-hand woman named Jasmine who helped me with everything, and we really like built everything, both companies from the ground up, out of a coffee shop. And then no, literally it was
believe you, yeah.
it was literally out of we would basically work wherever anyone would let us, and they had Wi-Fi, so like that's how it worked. And it started to actually like build momentum, start hiring our first employees, which was huge. And then I realized that the PR side required much more effort and time versus I had Jasmine, so she was able to run the talent management side of things. And then stop and stare, I realized I needed another partner. And I brought my best friend in, who I'd known since I was 12 years old. She was at L'Oreal at the time. And she also needed like the next step in her career, and convinced her to start Sunday Creative. And we did that 6.5 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. And then she's more traditional. So she was like really of the old school mindset of media relations, crisis management, eventing, and all that. So she was able to, and she had really strong relationships with media. I had okay ones, but my passion is truly like digital marketing, more the influencer landscape. So we started Sunday Creative, and now we have 3 divisions.
So when you say that she had like a really good relationship with media, are you talking about traditional media?
Yeah.
So kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, so that'd be the Gazette, CTV,
Bigger
radio
than that.
station.
I'd say national. So like,
Okay, like what?
oh my God, Globe and Mail.
I'm gonna ask you a lot of
Toronto.
stupid questions.
No,
I-
my
'cause
gosh,
I
not
don't
at
know
all.
any of this.
No.
Okay, so
like
Globe and Mail.
Toronto Star, a lot of the fashion magazines, because both her and I, our passion was more in like the fashion and beauty space,
Yeah.
and a little bit of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think bigger. Like any editor or journalist, like she had really good relationships because she had been at L'Oreal for like 6+ years. So she had access to all of them.
Why would her working at L'Oreal give her those?
Because she was the PR person for
Got it,
the brand.
Okay,
exactly.
I
So she would take
understand.
these crazy brand trips with editors. This is like how it was 6-7 years ago, where there was more money being funneled towards traditional media. So you would take them on these crazy experiences so that they would in turn write about you in their magazines or newspapers. Wow, I feel really old.
Okay, because this is actually something that I've been trying to get into with regards to PR. I actually had something on my calendar to be like hit someone up to go speak to an editor. I won't say the name or anything, but to just try and get into this network of people.
Okay.
How do you get into this network of people? And the reason why I want to get into PR, it's because, okay, so it all goes back to...
Are you trying to PR the podcast?
No, I'm trying to PR...
KBD Insurance.
I guess me.
Interesting. So you want to become a public figure.
The brand is more important, but it's very difficult to PR KBD because no one wants to find an insurance broker super popular. So I'm trying to get people to just kind of affiliate, oh, that's Curtis and relate it directly to insurance.
That makes sense.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Because like it's the next, it's so fucking difficult to basically promote like an insurance brokerage. So, but like how do you get, so I'll give you another example. So we went to Post Media to basically post all these articles, but we have to pay. And then when you pay, it just says,
advertising.
hey, it's advertising. Some people know, some people don't.
Yep.
But ultimately what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to rank higher in the Google search rankings. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And in order to do so, you have to get links from different websites. Getting links from websites such as the Gazette, such as Globe and Mail, such as whatever, that are not paid are like absolutely beautiful, high-valued links.
So you need to start actually just putting yourself out there to editors being like, I'm an insurance expert. That's what I would say. So like positioning yourself in that way. Look, I don't think you need to hire a PR agency yet. I would say wait a little bit, see if there's interest. Maybe you start getting even like weekly insurance expertise that's given out to a certain, like the Gazette or the Suburban or whatever it might be. But journalists have all of their information out there, so you just have to hit them up. But you have to like package it nicely. Hey, I have this podcast. I own KBD Insurance. Like, give yourself a little intro. If ever you need, especially with all like, I saw that you did the clip on the floods and stuff like that. But that would have been perfect. Would have been to go to Global or one of those like TV shows and just be like, hey.
I was on CTV.
Well, there you go. So you're doing it.
I guess, yeah.
That's PR. That's literally.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
You're doing PR.
Good
so
to know.
There's no point in paying someone right now when, especially like locally in Montreal. It's more if you want to start going nationally or North American wide, where I would say like in each market, you should definitely find someone who will get you those interview opportunities.
Got you.
But you need to start positioning yourself if you were my client as like an insurance expert.
Got it. And then just going from there. Okay,
Yeah.
let's enough about me. Let's go back to you.
No,
okay,
good.
so
I'm gonna start charging you for my time.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so there's like I'm trying to because I always thought it was Influence You, the name of your
Oh
company.
my God,
originally.
everyone calls it so many different things.
Yeah.
Even everyone.
So you have Stop
Okay, so
and
the first one was Stop and Stare.
Yeah.
Stop and Stare
I'm
got
writing
turned
this
into
down.
Sunday Creative. The
Which-
reason why that
got it.
even happened, Sunday is an ice cream Sunday,
Yeah.
is because PR is very much the Sunday, the cherry on the Sunday. So when you have we always tell our clients, well, Christina's gonna hate me for saying this, but I can't put a cherry on a piece of shit. You got to still have your shit together. So the Sunday has to make sense. The Sunday is the product, the toppings, all that. But really, I come in PR, influencer marketing, all that. We come when you actually have full-fledged, amazing product that's ready to go to market or is already on the market. There's a point of sale, retail. I then go in and do tons of storytelling, pitching to media, or coming up with an amazing influencer campaign to get your product spoken about.
And the companies that you're targeting right now are what size companies generally?
Fortune 500 is what I want moving forward. That's my goal.
So you're going after the big guys.
That's 100%, especially with this merger and acquisition, which we haven't touched on yet, but that was 100% the goals. I have very, very clear growth goals for the next 5 years of where we want to be. It's no small potatoes, it's no small feat. So yeah, we got to hit the ground running. And the only way to do that is either penetrating the US market. They have way more money, or targeting more Fortune 500s. We're really lucky. We have some amazing clients right now that are Fortune 500, but we want more.
Got it.
We've grown. We've gone from when I got purchased or acquired back in November, we were 8 employees, and now we're over 20.
And the name of the company that purchased you is
Dulcedo.
Dulcedo.
Yeah, Dulcedo.
Okay. Dulcedo. And how big are they?
Over 100 employees.
They're over 100 employees.
Yeah,
And
but they've been around for 16 years.
They're Canadian based?
Yep.
Out of where?
Montreal.
Out of Montreal as well? Okay.
Yeah, but they have offices in Toronto, and now they're opening up an office in LA, I believe.
Got it. Okay. So these are the guys.
Yeah, so there's 3 guys who we worked with because they had influencers. So they went from a modeling agency to an influencer to even sports.
But what's the relationship between a modeling agency and then an influencer? I don't understand.
So modeling agencies realized that there's a whole market to be tapped into when influencer marketing became a thing. So the same way you would rep a model, you rep an influencer. So the business model is quite similar. Right? You take a cut, you take your agency cut, you have an agent. It's very, very similar.
Hence the rise of Instagram models kind of thing-ish.
I guess. Sure. I don't think that's not the type of influencers I would work with. I consider there's 2 things. There's creators and influencers. Influencers are people that have a large following. Usually it's creepy dudes, but I don't think they actually necessarily... No, I'd say they influence whatever followers they might have to purchase something. But then you've got the creators. Creators are people who you're OG YouTubers, the people like a Mel, that's a photographer, you know what I mean? It's exactly, they have a vision of content they want to create and put out to the universe.
Okay.
So there's 2 ways of looking at it, and I think that, and then you're lucky if you're able to do both. Because I know a lot of creators are frustrated because they're actual creative and artists and they have a vision, but they can't get the views or they can't get the impressions. And then you have influencers who just have a shit ton of following, especially when you come off a reality show. Mm-hmm. These people are not necessarily all creators that are going to create a brand after this, right? And monetize on it.
So what you guys will do, you'll manage someone who already has an existing audience.
Correct.
Okay, so you're not there to basically...
I'm not building people from scratch.
Got it. That was my next question.
Yeah,
excellent.
no, zero interest. Zero interest.
Also, too, it'd be there's no guarantee that it's okay, what's your...
I only make money if they're making money. So we always I used to call it a 50-50 split, but I'd like to say more 80-20. So 80% of people that are actually already interested, so that are proactively reaching out to these influencers, and then we'll negotiate the deals, of course, to a higher value. And then the other 20% are us in our database reaching out to brands for them to work with.
So to oversimplify what it is that you do, it's basically you're an agent
used to do because I sold.
Used to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on, because I'm getting confused now.
Yes.
So it's but what that agency? So what?
So Influence
Sunday
All.
Creative. Hold on. I want to make sure I understand this. So what Sunday Creative did when you sold to Dulcedo? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You got it.
Okay, so when you sold to them, you're the agent for the influencer in the exact same way as an agent would help a hockey player negotiate a better contract.
No.
That's
I
okay.
had
Cool.
I had 2 companies. I sold.
And you had Stop and Stare?
So Stop and Stare became Sunday Creative.
Okay.
Which is like the
Cool.
PR stuff, the stuff
Yeah.
that you said you're not great at, but you're actually good at.
Okay,
Which
cool.
is getting into magazines, radio shows, broadcast, events. And then we also do influencer marketing campaigns where I hire influencers.
Got it. Okay.
But I also had on the side Influence All. Influence All was a talent management agency.
Got it.
So where I would manage mostly like lifestyle, beauty, fashion influencers from across North America. So
Okay.
I had 2 companies running at the same time,
Got it.
and I would do both.
And they were completely separate entities.
Completely separate entities.
Was there any synergies at all?
For
or?
sure. I would hire some of my influencers sometimes if they were the
Got
right
it.
fit to put them on my campaigns.
Got it.
Dulcetto saw our billables between Sunday Creative and Dulcetto, and we're like, who the hell is Sunday Creative?
Yeah.
And they reached out to us a little over, now it's going to be almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
An interest to purchase Sunday Creative. But the thing is that in order to purchase Sunday Creative, I had to also
You had
sell
to buy
Influence All.
the other one.
Yeah. So
Okay.
for me, it was
they said that, or you said that?
they wanted me to put 120% of my energy into Sunday Creative and
Makes sense.
growing that to the like vision that we all have for it. So yeah.
Okay. And so the company, so let's go back to Dulcetto. So basically, what made you sell? Did they make a really kick-ass offer? Were you getting sick and tired of dealing with staff? Were you tired of dealing with administration?
As my staff
Were
watches this.
No, but
I'm
it's
just kidding.
difficult
No, there's
managing
so many
people.
reasons. There's so many reasons.
Like there's some days I come in here too. It's like don't get me wrong, I love my job
For sure.
But there's some days you're like, holy fuck, this is really could be
It's a lot of
stressful.
pressure.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. So imagine I have been an entrepreneur for close to 10 years, right? And it definitely came to the point where I built such close relationships with my employees that there was literally no more boundaries, right?
Was
So,
that a good thing or a bad thing?
good and bad?
Okay.
Good and bad, where you get loyalty. I've had, like I said, the person who helped me basically build most of my businesses has been with me since day one, so like almost a decade, and she actually is going to be working at Dulcetto, which is really exciting for her. And that to me is just because we built such a strong bond. She was also a bridesmaid at my wedding. So yes, it's amazing, and I think it worked for what it needed to in that time when we were building something.
phase,
but if
yeah.
I need to grow, I can't be best friends with everyone,
No,
unfortunately.
you can't. No.
So I think it took them a good year to convince us to sell. And ultimately the deal was mine to take because I had to think about both businesses, not just one. The deal was, yes, of course, very good. But I think what sold me on it was a lot of things. One, I saw how much they've grown. In 16 years, they are crushing it. I think I don't know if I can even say the number, but like they're doing very well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe if I partner with people that have built something from scratch and then grown it, they can apply the same tactics to us.
How
So
old are
that-
the owners?
We're all around the same. We're all under 40.
Okay, so they're like
Yeah.
in their prime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
It's not some 75-year-old dude with a bunch of
No.
money who's ready
No.
to retire.
No,
Okay,
no.
cool.
I don't think I would have been interested in
Yeah,
that. No.
okay.
I think we're all super excited. I think there was also an appeal in purchasing a company that's women owned as well.
Okay.
Like I said, our billables between the companies, I think spiked their interest as well. It was one of them that was really interested in us, that we had worked with and collaborated with.
Yeah.
And yes.
But the owners of Dulcetto, that's women owned, or we're talking
No,
about your business?
I'm women owned, yes.
okay.
Yeah, no, they're they're three dudes.
They're three dudes?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so
And
cool.
that was honestly probably the reasons why I didn't want to do it, because I'm like, oh, working. I
You
haven't
thought
worked.
they were going to like mansplain you or something?
Look, my worst fucking clients that I've ever had have been men.
Do you
And
have a
they
chip on your
mansplain.
shoulder against men?
No, it's just that they mansplain. Okay, there's been times where I wish that you guys, even Chuck was like shocked at the way some men spoke to me and my business partner, as if we were lesser than, whether it's via email, via call. And the only 3 terrible experiences I've had in the last 7 years have been with male-owned businesses or men that were in powers of position, aka my clients. And you should see, one of them basically shamed my business partner into going on maternity leave. He's like, I guess we could have stayed had you not gone on maternity leave. That's a shitty fucking thing to say. So it was like mean things like that, where it's like, so she felt super guilty. She's like, did I lose us this client because I went on mat leave? Like, and he said that to her 3 weeks after she gave birth. It's fucked up. So no, I don't have a chip on my shoulder. It just hasn't been
But I feel like
the best experiences sometimes.
I get that. I totally get that. But for a lot of times, like here, so I'll defend.
Oh my gosh.
I'll defend
Defend
the
men.
side.
Go for it.
No. But I'm just gonna say this guy. Maybe I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the case, or maybe it isn't. He could just be a fucking idiot. So
100%.
perhaps for him.
But then the two other guys
me,
are also all fucking idiots.
Fair enough, but perhaps for me, because sometimes it's like if you have enough clients, like I deal with clients that are idiots, that are rude
100%.
all the time. So he could be like that to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps. And sometimes you're absolutely right. There are definitely some times where
And they might
men
just not
will-
know better, 100%. Like to say
Yes.
something to someone who just gave birth, like, oh, maybe I would have stayed. Like,
Yes.
yes, it's a dumb thing to do. And
it's a no filter thing. But there's sometimes where there are absolutely men that do look down on women for sure. But sometimes I think it's like somewhere in the middle where sometimes a woman would be like, oh, are you doing that because I'm a woman? And it's actually not the case. It's
100%.
just a dude who's like that. And he's like that with everybody. You know what I mean?
Look, again, I'm not saying one gender is better than the next. That's for sure not the case.
Yeah.
It just had been my experience. And to go back to the merger is
Yeah.
I did have pause that I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on a board of directors with 3 guys. How do I feel about that?
Yeah.
What's going to be our partnership? Is it going to be equal? Like I just wanted to make, like I had to pause. I had those questions, but they made me feel super, super comfortable. The deal was good. They made me feel comfortable. We backed down 3 times and we're like, nope, we're not going to do it. And they came back. They're like, no, we want you. Like, we're going to do this. So I thought that it was super audacious of them to do that.
So the pitch for them, correct me if I'm wrong, the pitch from them was not, hey, I want to buy you and push you out. It was, come join us to grow into something bigger.
100%.
That's a good pitch.
100%.
Got it. So you have equity in
Correct.
Dulcedo right now?
No.
You do not?
In Sunday Creative.
In Sunday Creative.
Yeah, it's its
Got
own
it.
company. They acquired it.
And it's a subsidiary of Dulcedo?
I guess within the actual structure of it, but we really operate as our own. We have our own company, our own banking, our own team, our own everything.
Got it. You're good.
Oh my
and
goodness.
so like, how is that bit, like what synergies, what value add? So once they've made the transition, actually, no, sorry, let's back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's obviously like a lot of thoughts going into like, okay, do I actually want to sell this business?
Yeah.
You're going to lose a bit of freedom, I would assume, or maybe you haven't.
That was a big one because I really didn't want to lose any fucking freedom.
Have you lost, I'm sure a little bit.
No, I don't think I've lost freedom. I think what it has done is that it's been busier than I was.
Got it.
Because, and again, I've never sold a business before. So now I'd say if someone can talk to Karine 2 years ago, it would have been like the first 2 years are fucking tough because you have to build the foundation of your business kind of again, right? You're working with brand new teams, brand new structure. We have budgets in place. Like there's just so much, like it's different. Like before it was kind of not a free for all, but I got to make the decisions, right? Like me and my business partner were like, all right, yeah, we're going to hire this employee. Got it. Now there's more process and procedures in place. So like from that sense, but these are all things to go towards growth that I think are necessary. Because if not, we would have just continued the way that we are.
Yeah.
Another reason is that we're moms. So I didn't get to take a maternity leave my first time around. I don't think it's in me to take actual time off, but at least this time I might have the opportunity to, should we have a second kid. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. I'm looking for work-life balance. I want to make a fuck ton of money with what I've built, and I just want to see it grow.
Would you ever move away from Montreal?
100%.
Yeah?
Yes.
Like where?
Have you seen our taxes?
Yeah.
That's
We're
a
not
whole.
going there
That's a
today.
whole. Other,
I've had enough episodes.
That might. Yeah, I was gonna say that might touch on politics as well. But no, 100%. If I were to
also
move,
actually no. Let's talk about this. Okay, as entrepreneurs, the taxes. How
imagine what I went through the sale.
Like, how discouraging is it for all these we already pay all these taxes in day-to-day life on everything. Yeah. So we lose like over half our salary. Yeah. And then we have to pay 15% for everything that we go into the store. And then, so you're telling me that after I've paid all these fucking taxes, which are already insane.
Imagine getting 50% of what they paid me for the sale.
Yeah, where you're preaching to the choir. But it's like how discouraging is it for you to, I think about this all the time now. It's like, well, why the hell do I want to build this up? They're just going to fucking take it all away from me anyways.
It's super frustrating, and thank God I have financial advisors and tax planners, tax lawyers, like thank goodness, because they're able to at least lower some of that down for us, thank goodness, because
in a legal
if not
way.
100% in a legal way.
I just want to say that.
Yes, no, 100, but meaning like we're doing it's very
Yeah,
strategic.
of course,
There's a timeline to all of it.
Yeah.
So thank goodness for them, because if not, like, it was again, like, is it worth selling? Or should I just sit on whatever I've done and like reinvest or whatever? Yeah. So all of that. So now I think it allowed us to kind of reflect on everything and our future. So I think now we're like in a really positive and good space. But yeah, year one has been super difficult because, you know, we transitioned some of our employees, we've grown our team significantly, we're building processes and procedures. It's a lot. So I'm definitely busier than if that's even possible. It's just busier in a different way.
Okay. And so right now, and I apologize for asking these
No,
questions
my God,
because
please
there's like
do.
a lot moving on here. So right now, under working with this new company, Dulceto, you are doing what?
I
specifically?
The exact same thing I was doing before, but more, I'd say, like operations for the time being.
Okay.
But no, very much building our team. So we have an amazing recruiting team. So we're hiring, pace hiring as well, so that we have like a super strong team, as we've been bringing on some really freaking awesome clients. One of them being like Prime Video, for example. We just did this huge event during Osheaga Festival. It was amazing. And it was like inspired by their show, The Boys. Crushed it. It was amazing. So I get to still be involved from like a creative perspective. But what excites me is that now I have like a whole influencer marketing division, and it's kind of taking it to the next level so that we have a product or service offering that's different than every other PR agency out there.
Okay. So you're basically, I'm a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
You're trying to work with me.
Yes.
What's your pitch?
Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, it would depend what it is. So we like to tailor.
I'm a stupid boomer. I have no idea who you are. I need to understand.
I've had a couple of those conversations
dumb it down
before.
for me.
Okay, so I would go in and have like a very human conversation, being like, what are your pain points? What are your goals for 2025?
I want to make more money.
Well, again, but PR, that's a really good point. PR is not sales. And I feel like a lot of brands come to us being like, yeah, I need more sales. PR is not that.
It's brand awareness.
It's brand awareness.
Yeah.
And it's to be able to get you to there. So if you're not doing paid ads on the back end, if you don't have a fucking kick-ass sales team, if you don't have an amazing product, like, we're just a part of the whole entire wheel that gets things going. So that's like first and foremost. So if he says sales, and right off the bat, I'm gonna be like, then you need a sales agent or like a business development person. But if you're looking for brand awareness, and we're very strategic though. We are very ROI driven when it comes to any tactic that we put forward, aka when I was telling you about like the SEO, like when you're doing any TikTok videos. So, but for me, my, let's say, success tactics vary from client to client. So I'm like, okay, do you need more views? Do you need more click-through rate? Do you need your watch times to go higher? Like impressions? Do you need your cost per impressions to be lower? Like these are all like metrics that we use to determine success. So of course a boomer might not understand anything I just said, but I would definitely be, my first step is always educating and showing them that we can be a really strong partner. We're an extension of their team. Better understanding who they are as a business. And then I go in with my team and we create a beautiful proposal, like super tailored to any Fortune 500 client that comes through or any client.
Nice pitch
and
deck.
Shows, beautiful pitch deck. That's very well thought out. Some people have told me that we go too much into detail because someone could just take it and run, but
better that way then.
I would rather say that like at least I put like all my cards out, right? Like this is who we are, take it or leave it. We have a super strong team now behind us as well. So not that I did before, but we have a bigger team.
Whoever said that I wouldn't agree with. It's like
what?
you can never like go too overboard in my opinion. And it's just like you're showing, I don't know, you're just showing effort. You're not going to get every sale, but you're putting your best foot forward. And I think that ultimately you're going to impress a lot more people than, I highly doubt that someone in a boardroom is going to go, this is too much.
But you know what? It's been really interesting is that like older companies or most Fortune 500 will only want to work sometimes with agencies that have been around for 20, 30 plus years. They feel like comfort in working with those types of agencies that also have like 200 employees. We're not trying to be that. I'm not trying to get to 200 employees. I'm trying to show, at least like we call ourselves like the new generation of PR.
More nimble.
We're more nimble. We're more efficient, but we're not just charging your time like, hey, now you owe me $10,000 this month, and like we did the bare minimum. We're very, very transparent and honest and super, super out of the box thinkers when it comes to any strategy we put forward.
So it's kind of, you're like a a big boutique agency.
Correct.
Ish.
That's exactly it. That's 100% it. We want that
That's a
boutique
good
feel.
space to be in.
That's where we
It's
want
like
to be.
nice and nimble, reliable to do the work.
Correct.
Brand's still there. Do you have 30 years experience? No, but it's like it's.
But I don't think you need to anymore.
I would agree.
Because it's super,
I would totally
it's
agree.
changed.
I would totally agree.
I would say like, hey, we now have we're hitting Gen Z markets, millennials, and even boomers in any of our strategies. I don't have any boomers on my team right now, and I hate that I keep calling them that because I'm sure my mom would watch this and like cringe each time.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we're in a really unique. We have a unique product offering in a perfect time right now, because I don't think you would get the service that we give people. We call it the white glove service. If you were at one of those agencies that has 200 people, crazy turnover, that's not great either. Christine and myself have been super involved with every single onboarding of clients. We feel, of course, super emotionally and professionally invested in every single client we bring on. But what's exciting, another reason why we sold is before it felt like if I lost a client, it was like the death of a client. Like it was like, oh my God, okay, we're done. Close the doors, we're going bankrupt. Like I felt so like discouraged. Now I feel like it gave us confidence. People believe in us, and you can already tell with our sales this year. Like I think we're gonna have our best year ever, which is huge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Back to something they were just bringing up, because Shamar and I were talking about this the other day. So one thing, it's very easy. So I'll give you an example. If you're gonna run like a Google Ads campaign, very, very, very easy to see. Okay, so I spent this much. This is the amount of money that came in. What's my return? Very, very, very easy.
For sure.
Brand awareness. So another example, and this is exactly what we're talking about, radio ads.
Yeah.
How do you
quantify it?
I know there's not a perfect science, but
Yeah.
you're going to know better than I will. So making that pitch to a client, like how do you explain to them,
you're going to
hey, by
spend
the
all
way,
this money, but I can't like direct correlate to a sale?
Yeah, exactly. Because all the metrics you're just giving, they don't. Yes, I know they have an influence on the actual sales,
So
but
then
it's
why
not
would
a direct.
I'll ask
influence.
you, why do you want to be on radio?
For brand awareness, I want more people to know about the brand.
Correct. So there are people. We can't just say like, let's say you had paid to have that spot versus organic, but like for you, your time is still worth something, and you know that there's listeners and they're going to tune in and they're going to maybe like go and check what KBD Insurance is after, right?
Yep.
That's exactly what PR is. We are trying to pique people's interest by hitting them with the message multiple times in different ways. So that's through traditional PR. So we're still very much building relationships with editors, journalists. The landscape is different, but it's still super important. So that's one way that we're going to hit our message, right? Let's say our client Roots came out with like brand new line of clothing. So we're going to make sure that we have a strategy that's in play for them, and making sure that we're getting tons of coverage, that we're getting that new collection in every single magazine, that maybe there's a couple of broadcast channels, stylists are using it for their photo shoots. That's one tactic. Then we go into influencer marketing. I got to make sure that the coolest of the cool that are very on brand are also wearing it. So then they're being hit. But then on the back end, what they need to do, but something we're also starting to do, is boosting that so that there's like a paid media strategy. So the first two are a little bit more organic-ish, and then you've got the paid to come in and kind of complement that. But then you have to have your whole marketing team making sure that they're placing ads in the right spot. That
What's the right spot?
It depends on the brand, right? It depends on what your target demographic is. So if your target demographic is like Gen Z, then it's probably most likely going to be like a TikTok or a Snapchat ad. So then it's just like we need to all work together. And then if you do see your sales rise, your collection sells out, we had a part in that. But I can't tell you exactly that PR brought you $2.5 million in sales.
It's not an exact science.
There's never an exact science unless there's a promo code and then you see, and that's so rare. It's so rare. All
like
of our clients used to do that.
But the thing with promo codes, I mean, the users, they're going to forget about it by the time they actually...
100%. And unless you've been really wanting that one thing, and you, first of all, just do welcome 10. Chances are you're going to get your 10% off something. Like you don't need to necessarily use like the influencer program code. That I think is like a very old school way of thinking. That's why those other metrics I mentioned are still very relevant to what we do. Because it does show that someone showed interest in the product or whatever it is that we're talking about by watching the full 2-minute video where we talk about the product, by clicking the link to go find out more about the product. Of course, the dream is that we go to a basket after, but you know what I want? I want their paid media people or their social ads people to take the information. So you know how you can do targeting based on, like let's say you're working with an influencer, you can actually target their followers. that's being strategic. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I worked with this influencer. Now go and promote to all their followers so they don't just see her promoting it,
Yeah.
but now I'm being fed. Do you know what? I'm a sucker then, because I literally, after seeing something 3-4 times, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We did it on our ads too. So it's basically like for, what was it on Instagram or Facebook? Meta, excuse me. Anyways, we did this one thing. So it's basically we're running a KBD ad and we can, because they're both correlated, and we can hammer all the viewers on the Freemium podcast and
Yeah.
vice versa and stuff and synergize all that stuff.
podcast.
Huh?
KBD podcast.
That's what I said, the
KBD.
Freemium? The KBD podcast. KBD podcast. Okay, switching gears.
Yes.
And you did answer. Basically, I was just wondering if there's like a secret answer to that. But for brand awareness, there really isn't.
There is, but you have to be, it's almost like I'm not gonna say mal nécessaire, because I think it's super positive to get your brand out there. I think brands who haven't invested in PR, influencer marketing are...
Who have not? Did you say
who have
or-
not.
Okay, yeah.
Who have not are, especially influencer marketing, you couldn't believe the Fortune 500 companies that haven't. Like some of them even being local, where I'm like, they have not worked with one influencer or a paid ad ever. They're just running off being a legacy brand.
And so, okay, so which brings us to my next question. So number one, what's it like working with influencers? Actually, you know what? Before that, how much value does working with an influencer actually bring? Like how big of an impact does it have?
Can you imagine I said none and I'd have no business?
Talk your book.
No,
It's all good.
no. So no, 100%.
I know it works, but
But it has to be
how well does it
strategic.
work?
I think where people got it wrong and where people get frustrated is when you just pay to play, where you're like, hey, this influencer has 100,000 followers. We're going to pay her $5,000 for a TikTok video, and we're banging on that. Like
It's
that's
a one
it.
and done. You're wasting your money, right?
100%.
Yeah.
You got to think long term. You have to
What's
understand.
long term?
You got to think like, what are my objectives, not only just for this quarter, but like for the year. We always look at it as like a year long. So like, what are we trying to achieve? So that's,
Interesting.
but again, it goes back again to strategies of like, okay, does your brand, would it benefit from having an ambassadorship program? Meaning you have an authentic voice that talks about your brand ongoingly. Maybe that's one of the tactics that works best for you. A one and done campaign is really just for big brands where they need to promote a mascara, for example. So they're going to just invest $50,000 into a campaign, and then they're also,
J-Lo's there or something.
then they're also going to boost it, right? For
Yeah.
them, like now boosting is everything for these big brands. So it's basically, it turned into like advertising, just another platform. It goes back to what I also told you before about influencers versus content creation. At some point, it is important to, yes, have that influence, but I think sometimes a lot of these brands are just looking for influencers who can create fucking awesome content. So I think it's crucial. It's crucial. Everyone has told me since I started my company that this is a failing industry, and it's $1 billion industry. And look where I am now. It's been almost 10 years. We're still
So, and like, can you
and
just give me,
growing.
like, because I know that there's a big variation between basically like a lower end influencer and like a super popular influencer. Like, what's the cost? So let's take,
Oh my God, it completely varies. It's
like a Jake Paul would be what?
millions.
Millions, eh?
Yeah, for sure. But
But
like we're
he's-
not
he's
even.
like-
but he's like more of a celebrity, I would say, at this
Yeah.
point than just an influencer. Same thing with like the Kardashians and all that. That's like one and done. That's like, oh hey, we're gonna slap whatever product on them, but.
Milk Mob. Let's talk about her. So basically, like for her because she's super popular.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's massive. She's bubbly. She's cute.
I actually think she's someone who would probably convert. Like I feel like if you do something
think
with
so,
her,
too.
that because you can see just from her swim line itself, it's an
Yeah.
affordable price point. It sells out quite quickly. They have really cute, bubbly personalities. Or kind
Yeah.
of edgy, and
So
I'm
how much would she charge?
all of that.
Let's say for one, just take a guess. Like I'm just curious.
Like because I the thing is that I know how much she charges, but what is she at? Like 500,000 followers.
No more. On TikTok?
On
One
TikTok at one
point,
point?
over a mil. I think
So
a
if
mil
I
and a
were her
half.
agent, it depends also on her other metrics. I'm sure her views are crazy. Her engagements.
Her engagement, I bet
is,
she's
is
massive.
like through the roof.
Yeah.
She's probably looking at like, she's also Canadian, you have to remember. So Canada budgets are very different than US budgets. So if I'm a US brand, I'd be I'd say like, 25K, 25. And then if
For a year?
No, for one post.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. For 1 year. No, for one post. If I'm a US brand, US has more money.
Canadian.
If you're Canadian, 10 to 12.
A post.
Yeah.
One post.
Yeah.
So how do I work with her for a year? I have to be a massive brand. That's the only way I
Correct.
can work with her for a year.
Correct.
Huh.
But those are better
Fuck.
deals, right? Because then
Yeah.
you can kind of maybe create
Yeah,
a
yeah,
1-year
yeah, yeah,
contract
yeah,
where
yeah,
you're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
monthly
So it's
posts,
it's
stories, you're
less-
coming to the
I
events. Like
understand.
you
Yeah,
come
yeah,
up with
yeah,
this,
yeah.
and then we always do that, like bulk. It's like,
And how often
hey,
do
I'm going to
these-
guarantee you X, but I need this.
So are most influencers like are they divas kind of? Because I just feel
No.
Because I feel like it's very difficult because
They're just like everybody else. No, it really depends. We have blacklists at Sunday Creative.
what's a blacklist?
We have a blacklist of someone that was
People you do not work with.
that we can't work with them anymore
they're
because they're
just
rude, they're
unreasonable.
disrespectful, don't turn in their content on time. Like we have strict timelines that we need to respect, and like we represent our clients. So yeah, we have.
This
like,
is so
if you're
interesting because
rude to us, like you're off.
Sorry to cut you off because
No,
we
my
literally
gosh.
the podcast we had last week with Mel, and so she's on the other side, the content creator, and
Yeah.
now I'm basically on the side that's
Yes,
saying
the
like,
ones that have
other
the money,
point
the
of view.
brands. Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of going like, hey, and I understand.
And we've
both
had
sides.
me and Mel have had these conversations.
Yeah, because she's like, look, it can, and I'm sure it's.
I'm sure there's brands and agents that are rude to her. Like it goes both ways, 100%.
Yeah, but it's like always having to be on for a content creator. It's like kind of takes away from being able to enjoy the present. But from your side, it's like, hey, I'm giving you money. These are my deadlines, and
Absolutely.
which is fair.
Then don't agree. Don't sign the contract.
I agree with that.
If you can't meet the deadline. So yeah, we definitely have a running list of people that are rude, condescending. Like if it's not pleasant to work with them, we're not going to work with you.
And so what percentage? Basically, like let's say
No, it's
10%
low.
or
10%.
shit.
Yeah. I'd say
Like the
10% of
80-20
people are
rule.
just ungrateful and not fun to work with.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
it's just more diva when they like, I don't know, need a limo to pick them up and like need to be in a 5-star hotel, will only fly business class. Like when they're not a celebrity, you're just
And so how much are these
that
influencers
sometimes is like oh, okay.
And I know that this amount varies a lot, but let's say, for example, someone, who could I say? Let's just take like a hot chick or something, because there's easier to think of. Amanda Cerny.
Amanda Cerny.
She's like an Instagram model.
Okay, clearly.
Yeah. No, but
We have
I'm
different
just-
feeds.
Yeah. No. I'm just trying. That was good. I'm trying to say like how much does an influencer actually make? And I know there's like a big range of the amount that they actually make.
Yeah.
Someone with 20 million
I
followers.
would say
on
followers
Instagram.
is not important anymore.
20 million followers, high engagement. Like are they making 10 million a year, 5 million a year? Like I have no idea how much these influencers.
I just feel like if it's like an Instagram model that you just described, she for sure has an OnlyFans. And that's like
She
a
probably
different way. Do you
does.
know what I mean? Like that.
But outside of
is really-
OnlyFans, not OnlyFans.
It depends
Let's
again.
talk
Like,
about like brand deals, stuff like that. Like what, $1 million?
I think
a
I think it gets old. Maybe at least $1 million for someone that has like that kind of following. Probably more. But what's more interesting are the people like, for example, they also have high expectations once they sign an agent. So they think like, hey, I'm now giving you a cut of what I'm making, my expectation is X. So that's a really interesting because this is their full-time livelihood. But one thing that influencers or creators don't realize is that if you're creating shit content or you stop posting, just because you for some reason blew up on TikTok that one time and you have 1.5 million followers, if you're not dishing out something that's like digestible and that people actually want to listen or watch, I can't get you brand deals.
You'll lose that real quick.
We had tons of people who either, especially back in the day, like a lot of girls bought their Instagram followers. Like
yeah,
that was
I heard
a thing.
about that. Yeah.
And then so they'd have shit engagement, shit views. That's why we look at so many different
It's not
metrics.
just the followers.
It's not the followers.
And what's
anymore.
up with the algorithm on TikTok? I feel like the amount of followers you have isn't really important
It's
in
not.
comparison to Instagram.
It's not, because you could literally have 1.5 million followers but get 1,000 views. Like
Yeah.
but then you're charging me for your 1.5 million. That's also a problem we encounter a lot.
And is Instagram still like your followers are more, they're going to get hit with the content that you're posting?
We actually did a really interesting, so I had my team do a quarterly report on all our campaigns from the past quarter. And interestingly enough, our brands are now shifting a little bit more to Instagram. At one point last year was just TikTok. Now it's a 50%, 50% on each platform, meaning we're activating on both.
Okay.
And the higher engagement was Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, lower, much lower.
Is
was
that
TikTok.
because of what you were posting maybe? Or?
No. It's just the way to your point of the algorithm. It's the way the algorithm is just very different. So like if you have followers on Instagram, they are more engaged. TikTok, less engaged. You'll get your views, but not the engagement. You won't get the share, the like, the comment as much. I think because people are just doing this. which is again back to the whole thing of like you got to hook them in the first 10 seconds, if not less, if not.
I would even say it's less than 10. On
Probably.
TikTok, I'd say it's like
like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like you
like,
kind of
say
like
4 max.
what's this guy got to talk about on his podcast? Oh, okay. But that's why I think your text overlay makes so much sense.
Yeah. Interesting. What platform are you most bullish on?
Am I what?
Most bullish on? What platform do you think moving forward is going to do the best?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok, right? In the States.
Yeah.
And how that'll affect Canada.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Then I think YouTube is still holding on. And I think that that's actually like, they have YouTube Shorts, which...
YouTube Shorts is like, it's
different.
Weird.
It's very different.
Everything's like so edited. It's like clips
but that's
that are
YouTube.
somewhere.
That's YouTube.
But it's edited in the way, like the actual, the long form YouTube, the content's fantastic. It's great. It's way better than what it was 3-4 years ago. These are like professionally produced films and content that's being put on that platform. But the actual shorts, at least because I go on it quite often, so they'll take like a Joe Rogan podcast, not edited by Joe Rogan, edited by someone else who will spice it up and kind of make it sexier.
Yeah.
It's all that, but it's kind of like, and I keep seeing recycled clips from like years and years ago.
Like, for example, my husband loves YouTube. I was never a big YouTuber. I have never.
Yeah.
Like
men like YouTube. It's
love
way more men. It's way more men
YouTube.
than women on YouTube.
He'll
I don't know
watch
why.
golf videos.
Yeah, me too.
And like so much, like or even like he'll watch third player, like almost like Twitch streams, I guess, of people playing video games.
I don't watch Twitch, but
yeah. No. It's like Twitch people who put clips on YouTube so that you can go and watch their Twitch streams. I actually haven't seen my husband on Twitch before, but whatever. He loves YouTube. He can spend hours on YouTube, which that's why I still think it's a very strong platform. And I actually think YouTubers, so expensive.
Yeah.
Even Canadian ones.
Yeah.
Super expensive. But I do think YouTube Shorts was a way for them to at least compete a little bit in the story and like TikTok market a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that they're going to be putting a lot of technology behind them. So I do think YouTube has a fighting chance.
You know where else actually, what platform and they're in the beta phase right now, just started doing kind of like similar to a TikTok or a Reels feed, LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn mobile, they're putting it up.
LinkedIn will always be B2B.
Well, I don't know what they have up their sleeve or what they're trying to do.
Like, you think freaking Gen Zs are going on LinkedIn?
They're not.
Or the generation before it. So to me, this is like, I think it'll be amazing. Yeah. I just don't know if that's where like I would put, I don't know. I can't even say that because I'm like, to sell a mascara, it wouldn't be like a dumb idea to sell it to people on
people
via
have
LinkedIn.
Money. Yeah. I mean, I would bet that the average user on LinkedIn is going to have more money than someone on Snapchat.
You don't see tons of advertising on LinkedIn yet.
It's terrible advertising. It's the advertising that I see. Like and honestly,
like I don't think I've seen like a sexy product like being sold to me.
I've gotten a lot of business off of LinkedIn, and not by running ads, all organic posts from me, and just basically responding to.
I think that's a perfect platform for you.
Yes.
So you're like super engaging in conversations.
It's by far the most effective platform.
100. I would agree with that. Yeah. I actually think for any business owner, you need to be putting yourself out there.
And here's always the thing: don't try and sell something on LinkedIn. Give information,
advice and education
for free.
Absolutely agree with that.
And if you show, it's like back to your point that you made earlier. If you can show that you're an expert in the field, people will be comfortable with you. They'll reach out to you when they want to reach out to you, or at least you're top of mind when they are ready to make that decision.
I'm super curious to see what these new features are going to be.
Go check it out. Do you have it on your phone? LinkedIn mobile?
Yeah. I'm going to go check it out.
Maybe it's just me because I have like the creator. I have
Yes.
But it's like in the feed, they'll have, so when I'm scrolling, they'll have kind of it's like I don't know what the word is, but it's you'll see they have videos. Go check it out just to play around with it.
Very cool.
It's interesting. The content is meh, but the concept.
Do you know what another one is? But this is very female centric. Is Pinterest.
I was literally about to say that.
Pinterest. I don't understand how brands are not more on that.
What type of brands go on Pinterest?
Tons of fashion, everything. I like.
But insurance is not on Pinterest, right? Like, would there be any value going there?
It wouldn't be dumb. Like, why not? Because you can pinpoint to like geographical locations.
But so it's all brand awareness stuff on Pinterest.
Like, I'll show you after. But like, imagine I on my feed, it's like my favorite. Oh, I need to get this pair of pants or whatever. Like, my algorithm is feeding me, and then the ad could be insurance, being like, but you have to make it sexy. It can't be like a picture of you.
Yeah.
Not that you're not sexy, but like, I would do like a really cool.
Yield Orchard of
no, please don't do that. Not that ad. But like, it would be really fun if you. like created like even like a graphic design visual, and it's like a call to action prompt of like need insurance. And then it literally, if you click on it, at least it brings to you. Why wouldn't you go on Pinterest? You know how many women spend hours on that, including myself?
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Huh,
You have nothing to lose. You're welcome.
I feel like there's just like there's so many platforms because you have like Pinterest, you have TikTok,
LinkedIn makes
Facebook.
So it's almost like you have to make
Well,
like a
LinkedIn
diagram.
it's all B2B.
100%. Or like when I get reached out to all the time for like financial advisors who like, you know, they probably wrote like CEO, like you pop up, and then I get that ton. So like bank and like financial advisors, I get hit up all the time, or investments or something like that. I get a lot of EAs, like executive assistants, maybe virtual, that also are hitting us up. But what I would do for you is like create a diagram of each platform and see how you can activate on each and adapt your method for each. So Pinterest, knowing that the demographic is like
women
25 to like 50-year-old women.
That's a good demographic too.
100%.
Damn.
Then LinkedIn, it's about you. Like you focus more on you and your expertise, and that's how you get your lead generation. Facebook, Meta, whatever, Instagram, you use it a certain way. And then TikTok's your other way, which is like these clips and like clickbait and all that.
And there's a lot. Then you have the traditional media. Then you have the SEO.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's every day. We look at our clients and we try to figure out like how we're being strategic on every single platform. It's like the 360 approach.
What's like, what does the future have in store for Karine? Like, do you see yourself
I think about that all the time.
But do you see yourself?
I'm an entrepreneur. No matter what, I will never work for someone else in the traditional sense. Like I really don't think I could ever go corporate. As dreamy as it might sound for like a mom or whatever it might be great for them, but I am too entrepreneurial in my blood. I love starting things. I love that I was able to like build something from scratch, and then even had the pleasure of selling before I've even hit, it was 6 years of that specific business, and the other one was a little bit more, before the age of 40. I think these are like huge accomplishments that like, I don't know, it's in my, I can never stop. I'll start.
What do you enjoy about building?
It's something that you started in your head.
Yeah. And
then you see it come to fruition. And then it's like the fruits of your labors. And you can like buy stuff. No, but like I can make a living off of this. I think that was like my big aha moment. I think that was one of your questions at one point of like, how do you like, what do you deem success? And I think at one point it was like that my business, this idea that came out of my brain was able to allow me to live.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Instead of just going I tried the traditional route, not for very long. It just wasn't for me. Some people thrive in that. People are great. They can climb the ladders. They can make a shit ton of money. It's not for me.
And there is,
I need freedom way too much.
I've never done it either, so I think we're both kind of in similar situations. I didn't start this from scratch. My grandfather started many, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could ever work underneath of somebody, especially
now. But
that
was important, and that was super important with the acquisition, where I'm like, I cannot feel like you're my boss in any shape, way, or form.
Do you ever feel that way?
I think it's a me problem, not them. They let us be so autonomous. We meet like once every quarter. We go over our numbers. We have a board of directors meeting. Like it's very, they're like letting us run our show, which is what we wanted, but still with their like, of course, their guidance and things like that.
Yeah.
So that they haven't made me feel. I think it's more of a me problem.
And so
I should go to therapy.
So office in Montreal, office in Toronto. You said opening an office in LA.
I believe so. I think it's coming.
Why LA though? I feel like LA is kind of like a dying place. The taxes are through the fucking roof. Like why wouldn't
you're asking like to me, to be honest, I still think LA is super appealing because it's on the West Coast. So it's West Coast.
I just feel like so many people, so many
some
creators.
of our biggest clients come out of LA. Still come out of California, yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of maybe these are the influencers that I follow. They're just like, I'm getting out of California. They're going to Texas. They're going to Florida. You're talking about
influencers. I'm thinking about brands and money. There's still a lot to be done. But again, like opening up an office in LA is more just like we're already on the East Coast, so having an office in New York I don't think is necessarily like beneficial. We can jump on a plane and we're right there. So it's more like I think strategic in that sense.
I understand.
And the weather's better. So
the weather's fantastic.
And the food's really good too. So
Yeah, we were just there in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
That was absolutely fantastic.
Yes, it was lovely. I'd like to
It
go
was
back.
so hot.
It was so hot though.
Holy shit. That was like, I'm like, I like the heat. I genuinely
No, that was like that was
the heat.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We
just
still,
like
we still love our friends who got married there, but like it was just really hot.
Yeah, holy Christ. And I remember, okay, so for the actual wedding, I'm sitting down. Were you sitting in shade?
Yeah. I was also wearing a long sleeve dress. That was a terrible decision.
We have our suit. I immediately took my jacket off. So we're sitting down and like all of the
Was your
umbrellas
back
already
full
there.
of sweat?
It was disgusting. No, Karine, I was in the sun.
Oh, no.
I was like full, just hitting my face. And so I had my jacket on for literally like 30 seconds. I'm like, this is not happening. I take my jacket off, place it down, and the sun is literally like it's 4:00 in the afternoon in California, just beaming on my face.
Yeah, and then you would think that there's relief once the sun went away, but there isn't.
No.
It's just like you're breathing in hot air.
Yeah. And we did the same thing.
Do you not remember what happened to my husband?
For what?
What do you mean? At 9 p.m. after doing like 6 red wine chugs, the waitress comes to me and she's like, "Is that yours? Like, is that your husband?" And I'm like,
"Oh yeah, I do remember."
I don't know how I want to answer. Yeah, because he was like relieved to have been done, like the officiating speech and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess he's mine, and he's just like not well because with the heat. The red wine, like he was not good. So,
it's funny whenever you speak to someone who's inebriated.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, you're speaking to them and their eyes, they're just looking through.
They're not even, there's no one there.
They're kind of like, just like,
but at least, and then at one point we started giving him vodka sodas, but they were just soda.
Just soda water. Here, chug it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, it's so good.
You got it. You're the best, man. You're the best. Keep going. Yeah. No, it's always good. Like
it was a good time. Lots of great memories.
Yeah. Anything else you want to? I know you got to get going. Anything you want to finish up on here?
No, I think you asked like all the right questions. I hope it's not too confusing to people that I had 2 companies. I sold them.
Yeah. No, it's like, I mean, it's a pretty cool story. There's not a lot of people that, number one, start their own businesses, and
for sure, and get to
there's
sell.
even fewer women that start that. There's a lot of. I find it's more. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I think it's more.
I thought you were gonna like pull out a percentage, being like, well.
No, I don't know, but I just feel like generally speaking, and again, I could be wrong. I feel like generally speaking that men are more willing to kind of take the risk. I know there are definitely still women such as yourself that are willing to take that risk. I think they're more comfortable taking. There's more men that are okay with taking that risk. There are women
the
out
risk
there.
is worth the reward. It's always been that.
Yes.
And it's interesting because my business partner is entrepreneurial, but is risk averse. Like. Is that the right way of saying it?
Yeah, risk averse, doesn't like risk.
She does not like zero.
So you guys probably complement each
Correct.
other
So
very
it's
well.
very, very yin and yang.
She'll balance you and you'll
like she was like.
So she might look at you and go, "Karine, that's fucking nuts. Like we're not doing
at all times. At all times.
Yeah.
And we like butt heads like sisters. We've known each other since we're 12.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think it was a nice balance for me to have because I don't know what other crazy shit I would have done.
You do need a handler. Like
I 100% need a handler.
No, I'm not talking about you.
No, but I do. I really think.
But it's kind of like the same.
If I call her, I'm going to name her handler in my phone. She'd be so happy. Yeah, 100%. Sometimes she's just like cuckoo nutso. She's like, "What's wrong with you?"
Because it's kind of like the same thing for Walt Disney. So when Walt Disney was back in the day when he was starting his business, he had his brother to be the numbers guy and his handler. So he has all the crazy ideas.
Didn't
we're going to go do
his brother
this.
die, and that's where the name Walt Disney came from?
No, Walt Disney was the main guy to actually start
I think there's a story
Disney.
about this that
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say read, and it's never read. I saw on TikTok. I have to stop saying that. I read about that. I haven't read shit. Okay. I think I saw a story about this on TikTok.
Like a lot of good entrepreneurs have handlers because they're too fucking crazy. So,
100%.
But they need another voice of reason.
For sure, but I also think what's exciting about being an entrepreneur is yes, the adventure part of it, and taking all of that risk for sure.
And as tacky and as cliche as this is, enjoy the process.
Definitely. If you had asked Karine 10 years ago if this is where she would be, I would not believe it at all. Zero. I'd be like, no. I'll never forget this. I'm not sure if you're like into star signs at all, like horoscopes. Okay.
No.
You didn't strike me as
No, I'm not.
So I have an astrologist.
Oh my God.
Wait,
Okay.
There's a good.
Let's hear this.
It's a great way to end the podcast. So I have this amazing astrologist name is Duncan. He is like my gift to anyone at any time. But when I had first started in corporate Canada, not in corporate America, I started in corporate Canada.
Yeah.
And I was miserable and I didn't know what my next move was going to be. And I think I had applied for like a media relations job at Lululemon or something like that. And I go to my astrologist and I'm like, do you think I'll get it? Like, what do the stars say? Whatever, I was grasping at straws, okay, at this point. And he's like, no, you're going to start your own thing. He's like, your star signs have no fire. You are the type of person to create her own fire and you're going to start your own business. And I started my own business 2 years ago and I thought he was fucking crazy. I was like, what kind of business am I going to start? Like, I had no clue. So as crazy as he might sound, he planted the seed somewhere back there. I'm like, oh yes, Duncan said I was going to start my own business one day.
Do you still see Duncan?
We're just Instagram friends right now. I haven't seen him in a while just because I feel like I've been on a good
So you would
path.
literally like go.
Oh my God, so often. So often.
An astrologist.
Any big decisions, dating, everything. I'd be like, Duncan. Well, we were like on a like 2-week basis. I was seeing him bi-weekly.
How long is a session like that?
Depends. Sometimes it could be an hour, and if you're really feeling it, maybe longer. Whatever. Anyone who has seen Duncan loves him.
Okay.
He's predicted more other things. And again, it's not like a psychic. It's truly like your chart, like who you are as a person to the universe and what your lifetime goals are going to be. I'm now everyone's judging me, but I really do believe that like he did plant like some sort of seed.
Okay.
So like little Karine looking at old Karine now is
So you're saying thanks,
proud.
Duncan.
100%.
All right. Do you want to finish up with that, or you want to finish?
That's how we're gonna.
All right. That's how we're gonna end it.
It felt good. It felt good.
Karine, I really appreciate you joining me.
I did force myself onto the podcast, but
no,
thank you
it was
for
like
having me.
I didn't even think about it. I actually.
That's worse.
My next no, because you're great. My next suspect. I want to ask Rachel to come on.
Yes.
She'll be way more. No offense to Chris. She's a better converser than Chris.
No, definitely.
Because also too, to be completely honest, people in my circle, I think about that when I'm asking a guest. I'm like, fuck, because
You don't want to do like pull it out. I still think Chris would be really insightful.
I don't want to like tip. I try not to offend people because it's like, so for example,
I was so offended and I called it out and I was like, you have never asked me.
No, but I also don't want to offend your husband.
Why the fuck would you offend Chuck? What?
No, I know I wouldn't.
He would never want to come on a podcast
I
in
think
general.
This is a me problem too. Yeah,
okay.
You're probably right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need therapy too. Okay.
I just have to admit it. But yeah, and by the way, since
there's more girls coming on.
Yes.
Yay.
So Karine was actually you were giving me shit
I was
in
giving you
Napa.
shit.
So I've had.
Mel.
But you're the 4th girl or 5th?
Yeah, you need more.
We'll say 5th. You're the 5th.
Okay, and then Rach.
She'll be
Batter
the
up.
6th.
Let's go.
It'd be funny if we had well, I haven't even asked her.
I'm going to have Rachel and Chris on at the same time.
I wouldn't do that.
I just feel like they do such different things.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I like talking to people that kind of like are running their own thing. Actually, I talk to all walks of life, but like people that run their own things, you can get they can say things through a different lens. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Such
Thanks for
as
having
yourself.
me.
Thank you, Karine. This is the KBD podcast, and like and subscribe. Thank you so much.